I'm a fan of spoken word and poems. So I follow good friends like Kenneth, B, and Teardrops. And mostly Sundays, I usually doze off or catch up on some few documentaries. My name is Samwel Kariuki. I'm an electrical and computer engineer, currently working as a support engineer for IBM East Africa, and I'm also a volunteer and a mentor for the young engineers of Kenya. My career requires, or rather entails, a lot of, I'm into the telecommunication world at the moment. So much of my work requires coming up with solution, designing and coming up with solution that will, enable the telecommunication world to attain its goals. Basically, I'm involved in the rollout stages of any project, like for instance 2G, 3G, 4G. I'm also involved in the telecom test labs, where I aid with other team members to come up with solutions that can, in one or the other, catch up with what is currently being used as the new STEM technology that is taking shape in our telco companies right now. The engineering aspect alone, I've been doing it for 3 years, now going 4. If you mix it up with a bit of IT, I can sum it up to 5-6 years. I was born in Magarini, that is in Malindi, Kilifi County. I schooled in Nakuru. After finishing my KCP, I joined high school, still in Nakuru, in Meningai High School. And after my A-levels, I was able to join Jomo Kenyatta University, where I took up IT. That is what the government said I should do. My passion was not really to do IT, apparently. It was in engineering. But the points I had at that time did not really meet the requirement or the threshold set to take up an engineering course. So I went ahead and did IT. And after finishing up IT, that was in the year 2009, I joined an NGO, worked for a bit with them. Through that interaction with a few friends, really good friends, I was able to be challenged, to be given motivation to pursue what I really loved, which is engineering. So I applied for an engineering course in the US. And through a scholarship, I was able to, secure a place. And that is how I ended up doing electrical and computer engineering in Kansas, in a university called Wichita State University. After completion of my engineering, I came back home. I joined KCB to do development first, because engineering was a bit hard to, secure a place in our country. So I ended up doing what I first started, which is IT. I did development for a bit, and I realized I needed to do what I really loved, which is engineering. So I quit my job at KCB, joined another contractor for Safaricom, and started with doing maintenance for fiber for them. I did that for close to almost a year, and I think the team that I was working with saw the passion that I had. I was challenged enough to be given other departments to head, So I ended up in something called rollout for Safaricom sites, and eventually became a manager for optimization of sites that are within Nairobi and Mombasa region. After that, Safaricom noticed my work, and I had a seat with one of the engineers who apparently organized for a seat with other fellow engineers. And I was very lucky to have met the CTO of Safaricom, who embraced a number of innovations that I came up with. And I landed up a scholarship again that saw me join Safaricom Academy in Strathmore University, where I did big data analytics. And after completion, I was able to come up with a number of good solutions for them, which ended up, making me win some few awards here and there. As we are currently talking, I've just enrolled for my master's in the University of Nairobi, the May intake. I wanted to pursue an MBA so that I can bring my engineering skills with my entrepreneurship skills, then mix them up with a bit of IT to see that we have attained, the goals that we set for Vision 2030. My typical day starts at around 5 in the morning. I wake up at around 5. I read a lot. So I have a timetable. From 5 till 6, I practice a new language. At the moment, I'm learning Mandarin, Chinese. From 6, I prepare. 6:15, I'm out of the house, heading to work. By 7:45, thereabout, I'm already in the office. Usually, I start with the urgent emails. I reply to the most urgent emails when required. But much of my time from, let's say, 9 thereabout going onwards, I'm either in the telecom test lab, playing around with machines, looking for solutions, designing networks, and just learning systems, how they work and how we can improve them. If I'm not in the telecom test lab, mostly I'm usually at the field, giving out solutions. It's either I'm doing a deployment, either I'm optimizing sites outside, I'm testing them, I'm doing maintenance and all that kind of stuff. And by around 4:30, usually my day is done at the field. So by 5, I'm again at home. I do exercise a bit until around 6:30. And then catch up with the news, which is around 7 in the evening. And by 9, I try to, unwind how my day was and try to fill up the gaps that I had already had as in terms of challenges. And that requires I do a bit of reading from 9 to around, let's say, give it 2 hours. So by 11, I'm good to call it a day. So I sleep off and then do it all over again. But this time, with my practice, so to speak, it is not the same. You can't say my Monday will be the same as my Tuesdays, because the challenges that I usually face during, one day is totally different from another day, so to speak. Yeah, the evolution that we have experienced so far in our country has been tremendous, if you ask me. It has been amazing. When I was in school, I'm pretty sure guys were still on 2G. That is way back. But when I started, handling, these systems in the telecommunication world, we had already gotten to 3G. So the evolution, so to speak, of our telecommunication world has evolved from 2G, which used to support around 64 kilobytes per second, to now when I started working on the 3G networks, which I found were doing around 2 megabytes per second, to the rollout of 4G by Safaricom, that is, which is now supporting a bit higher speeds, that is 1 gigabyte per second, and currently doing 4G plus as well, going into 5G. The same case with Telcom, because I've also worked with Telcom Aware as well. But for them, this is the time they're rolling out 4G. But initially, they were really good with 2G and a bit old school technology called CDMA, which supported a bit of 2G and 3G. Through the experience that I've had with Safaricom network, the challenges that I've already faced, I was required to come up with solutions that will mitigate a bit the challenges and the impediments that technicians and engineers are facing. So I came up with an application, a mobile application that could assist, so to speak, and also expedite the way work the way work will be done, and make it a bit fun, so to speak. So I was able to come up with an application. It's a mobile application used by engineers. Right now, it is only used by Safaricom engineers, the field operating officers. Basically, it looks like this. So this is